Welcome to the fourth episode of MindSET.
My name is Virginia.
And I'm Barbara. Thank you for tuning in today. We're really glad that you're here. So first of all, we want to acknowledge everybody that's tuned in today. So let us know in the chat box where you are tuning in from. Last week, it was very cool. We had people tuning in from the UK, China, India, and Costa Rica. So let us know where you're calling from. Go ahead and pop it in the chat box.
And as we're now in a lockdown here in the UK, we're trying to teach you some skills that are actionable, practical, and so that all of us can look after our mental health in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah. And if you're new to MindSET, welcome. So Virginia and I will be guiding you through today's session featuring our resident therapist, Darryl, who is an experienced DBT specialist, trainer, and expert supervisor with many years of experience in both the NHS and in private practice. Say hi to everybody, Darryl, so they can see your lovely face.
Hi everybody, hi.
Thank you. So Virginia and I will both be participating throughout because we want to make sure that everything we cover goes in here for you. Yeah, so keep those questions coming as we go.
And as a reminder, MindSET gives you the tools and knowledge to manage your mental health. We're here to show you how you can better recognize them and to regulate them. And over the remaining 7 weeks, we're going to be giving out live demos of the tools that you can use right now and the weekly MindSET workout.
Absolutely. And I just got to say, so we've got people from London, we've got people from Italy. Hello, Italy. Buongiorno. More people from London. We have Praveen from India, who is a clinical pharmacologist. That's super cool. Ashley from UK. Woohoo. Right. And we can see all of us on screen, so we will spotlight. Yes,
Let's
we will do that.
ourselves.
So you don't have 4 screens to look at. There
Yay.
we go.
Hello, everyone. Yay. Now we're back.
So the MindSET tool of the week and the MindSET workout will both train your brain to help you deal with everyday situations, even the really difficult ones, right?
Okay, so this is MindSET on the move. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a mindfulness exercise. So what we're going to do is this is an observing exercise. So we're going to get you to notice, we're just going to get you to notice your responses to certain words. I want you to put your feet flat on the floor, and I'm just going to say some words at you, and I want to see if you can see where the words hit you. So they might hit you straight in the face, they might hit you in the forehead, they might go in one ear and out the other, they might go from left to right, up to down, up, down, down, up. Just want you to see if you notice they might not do anything at all. So the idea is for you to not be to practice focusing your attention. See if you can come back, let go of one word and just keep focusing on the next word. Yeah, so not to get distracted, and see if you can let go of any judgments that you have about the word. Yeah, so sitting there with your feet flat on the floor, your palms resting upturned in your lap. So maybe just start to notice your breath coming in and out of your body, but don't do anything with your breath. Don't try and change it or manipulate it in any way. And we'll start and finish with the sound of the bell. Picnic. Banana. Beach. Light bulb. Street. Stupid. Car park. Ugly. Desperate. Market. Clouds. Forest. Suicide. Clock. Sadness. revolution, unlovable, stress, trauma, sandwich, ocean, heaven, catastrophe, moron, lunchtime, happiness, injury, romance, elephant, freedom, mountainside, caravan, peacefulness. Okay, so see if you can get hold of your attention and just move it back to the screen. So I'm just interested, feedback wise, I just want you to tell me, to think about, what did you notice? Did all the words hit you in the same place? Did different words hit you in other places? Did you notice maybe changes in your body sensations? Maybe your thoughts changed somewhat. Maybe you just got distracted. Maybe some words just made you distracted for longer than others. Maybe it changed your breathing. So what I really want to know is, what did you notice happen in that? Yeah. So let me start with Barbara and Virginia. What did you notice?
What did you notice, Barbara?
I noticed that I started out really distracted because I was already like in my head since 12 o'clock. Well, since longer than that. I noticed that the words, the more serious words, the more, I guess, negative words to my mind kind of hit me right in the chest and would kind of bloom out like a bad ink stain. And then some of the what I would call happier words were quite far in the distance and they didn't come toward me. They were kind of like, it was like they just stayed far away. Yeah. Okay. What about you, Virginia?
I think I was a bit like distracted too for this exercise. But I noticed that when it was words like street or lunch, these kind of words that I wouldn't say, I don't know, it's a judgment, but these more neutral words, yeah. It would just like go through my head, like the upper head. And then whereas for words like sadness or trauma or like suicide, it would like really go through my chest as well.
Yeah.
And I noticed I was breathing fast and also a bit frozen at the same time.
Okay. And what about any of the viewers?
The Keitha says different words hit me in different places. I was literally imagining whatever the words were. Some negative words made my breathing erratic.
And Lucy says stupid, ugly, and trauma made me feel sad. My eyes twitched when I heard them, like I flinched. Neutral words bounced off me without much effect. Beach reminded me of a recent camping trip to Norfolk, which really had happy memories.
And Rana says, I noticed I was relating every word to an image. Somehow I didn't travel far from my room. Catastrophe hit my chest and I became ill.
And Olivia says, I almost started playing a word association game, kept trying to bring myself to how the words felt. But for example, you could say cloud, I say back sky. So I found I am now judging for not coming back to the exercise.
So look, so I suppose what this exercise shows somewhat is what words, the effect that words can have on us, and the effects of words and judgments as well. And what we know is, or why we focus on judgments, is that when people get emotionally dysregulated, all the research is showing that on the way to getting dysregulated, people are judging, and they're either judging themselves, they're either judging the situation, maybe they're judging the emotion or what they're thinking of, and it's a clear step on the way. And if you were to take that judgment out of it, yeah, then it's much more difficult to get dysregulated in the first place. So and one of the ways of starting to kind of have words have less impact is, and the same with thoughts and stuff, is to be able to find a mechanism of watching them come in and go out of your mind. So if they came from the bottom, you can watch them go up and out of the top. You know, when someone calls you something, or you hear something, you can just watch it come and go, or you watch it, because all the research around this shows that if you cling on to difficult words, you know, you keep saying you're stupid or ugly or whatever, that this just makes it worse. So you know, so clinging onto them and looking at words makes it worse, but so does pushing it away. If you just spend all of your time just trying not to feel something, this also takes the intensity of it up. So the skill or the trick is to be able to watch it move through and not attach anything particularly to it.
But now it's time for a tool of the week, and we're going to be looking at the 3 systems that regulate our emotions. And Darryl's going to be telling us more about that and how to ensure that we have them balanced. And while he does that, we're going to do something new this week, which I think is like super, super cool.
I wonder what that's going to be.
Oh, the very talented Virginia is going to do a live scribe, as you know, as Darryl is speaking, so that we can get like an illustrated recap at the end of this session. Yeah, so she'll literally present to you in pictures what Darryl has said in words. So over to you, Darryl.
Okay.
Yeah. And now it's tool of the week.
Tool of the week. Yep.
So yeah, so let's see if we can get Virginia to scribe anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Oh no.
Oh, that's so useful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we're going to cover today is I'm going to talk to you about something called self-soothing, right? And I think if I was to say to you, you know what, when you feel really distressed, what I want you to do is I want you to give yourself a hug, or have a piece of chocolate, or look at a pretty picture. You know, when you're at your most distressed, I would imagine that most of you would say, yeah, but I just don't feel like doing that. It's just not possible at that moment when my distress is so high. So what I'm going to do is talk to you about actually what these systems do, and then I'm going to see if I can sell the idea that you could self-soothe. So in each human being, right, we have 3 distinct systems. We have what we call a threat system, we have a drive system, and we have a self or a soothe or a contentment system. And these are going on in our heads. And in the threat system, what you have is stuff like disgust, impulsivity, criticism, yeah. And if you've lived a life where, if you've lived a life where you've been criticized from a young age, or you've had trauma, or you've been bullied at school, this threat system was activated earlier than you would hope for. And when you have a life of criticism and abuse and stuff like that, every time you get that, it touches the threat system, and the threat system is really sensitive, and it starts to grow and grow and grow, and so it's like a sort of smoke detector that gets more and more sensitive. And as it grows and as it grows and grows and grows and gets more and more sensitive, your threshold for criticism and stuff like that actually lowers. It doesn't increase, but the threat system, or the amygdala, that part of the brain, gets bigger and bigger, probably to the point where, although some of you will have had very difficult sort of childhoods and childhood experiences, to the point where even when maybe that criticism stopped, or maybe you know the bullying at school or something like that stopped, that you actually kept it going. Yeah, so it stops, but you're so used to it that you started criticizing yourself more and more, and are still doing that now. And of course, there's always another side to a story, and the threat system is something that we need. You know, if you think about studying for your exams, for revising for exams and stuff, then it's, you know, what made you study? It's probably the fear of not passing. And if you have a fear of not passing, it's the threat, isn't it, of failure that causes you to do it. Or those of you that look when you cross the road, you know, what you're doing is you're assessing threat, trying to keep, can I get to the other side before, you know, before a car hits me? Yeah, so we need threat. So there are benefits and there are sort of pluses and minuses of your threat system. And then we also have the drive system. And the drive system is the thing that makes us get up and go. It's the thing that moves us around. You know, it motivates and commits us to action. And again, there are two parts of this drive system. You know, there's the positive bit, which gets us up and gets us going, and then there's the downside to it, which is if all we do is just are relentlessly task focused and relentlessly busy, yeah, it actually burns us out. And if we're just in the drive system all the time, we eventually get exhausted, which makes us burnt out and then depressed. Yeah, so there's this system as well. And then the other side of it is the soothe system. And the soothe system is what we do for contentment and relaxation. And I'm going to get to I'll talk to you more about the soothe system in a minute. But what happens as we go through our day is that we go from one system to the other. Yeah. And sometimes we might be for a moment in one system before we move into another. And at other times, we can get stuck in systems for days, weeks, months, and years. I mean, some people would be in a threat system for months and months. Yeah. So all of this is possible. So, when you have these, when you have these three systems going on, interacting with each other. So I'll give you an example. This morning, I woke up late. So I woke up, I looked at my watch, and I'm like, I'm late. Yeah. Oh, you've done it again. You've overslept. Threat. Yeah. So I jumped up out of bed really quickly, ran into the shower. The shower was really nice and warm, and there was a great bar of soap where I was, and I smelt that, and you know, using that and the smell from that, and I'm like, yeah. And then I got out the shower, checked the time, got a rush, and I bombed it down to the kitchen, made myself some toast and a coffee, stopped, ate that, looked at my watch again, jumped on my bike, and I thought, wow, I've got to go. So I was just going from one to the other the whole time. Okay, so the thing is if you could see on the screen, is that the threat, the drive, and the soothe system are all around the same size. However, if you've had a life of this sort of criticism or neglect or trauma, yeah, and this sensitive part of it keeps getting touched, what happens is the threat system grows and grows, yeah, and as it grows and grows, it starts to impinge on the other systems. So, you know, so I would ask people, why don't you draw a picture of your life and how much you're in threat, how much you're in drive, and how much you're in soothe. So take them, just sketch it quickly, a little bit like that. Is that your one, Virginia?
Mine should be, the drive should be the bigger one.
Right, so you're always trying to produce stuff and go.
This is more like me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so I would imagine that a lot of people joining us would have a huge threat system, a sort of medium-ish drive system, and a tiny little soothe system. Now, the thing about this is that actually, you know, you've probably been trying for years to, you know, you've probably been using your threat system to get you going all the time. Come on, idiot, you got to get going, do this. Am I getting this right? You know, criticizing yourself. Yeah. And it's, you know, the paranoia grows. The more the threat system grows, the more paranoid you get. You get to the stage where, you know, just going out, you feel uncomfortable. You have a general sense of people trying to hurt you, but you couldn't really specify. And that's because as it keeps growing, it keeps overtaking stuff. And you can't, and it's not really possible to shrink that threat by touching it directly. So what would you do? Touch it with threatening yourself more? Come on, stupid, let's get going. Do you think that's going to reduce the threat? Because it's unlikely to. So what we're after doing really is, or the way to decrease your paranoia, your disgust, and your impulsivity, is to actually work on the soothe system. Yeah. And if you grow the soothe system, it's like thinking about it as like 3 balloons in a bag. If you grow the soothe system, it starts to impact the threat system. And you can see over time, and you can see this on brain scans, you can see that the soothe system is what brings the threat system down. So what I'm really saying is to engage your soothe system, particularly when you're distressed. You can do it when you're not distressed, and it's still great, but try this. And when we talk about the soothe system, we are talking about things that go through your senses. Yeah. So this is touch, taste, hearing, smell. I can't remember the other one, but I know there's definitely one. Yeah. So when you do things like that, so one of the things that you could do is you can develop your own kind of self-soothe box, because there'll be people that love chocolate and other people that prefer peppermint. And I've seen this, and I've seen people, all manner of people, develop these little self-soothe things that they keep in their pocket or keep in their room. I know people that have turned their whole bedroom into a self-soothe. Okay, so there are pros and cons of a soothe system, right? Because you know what, it might be great for me to stay in bed and binge watch Netflix and eat a load of chocolate on a Sunday. Yeah. But if I do it on the Monday, the Tuesday, and the Wednesday, and the Thursday too, it's no longer really it's no longer really soothing. And I really start to move into the realms of you know, putting on weight, not getting up, not doing stuff. So you can overuse the soothe system as well. But if you look at your own, so if you look at your own drawing, what you're trying to do really is trying to balance each of those systems. So what you have in front of you is a guide to what you can do. Yeah. So if you've got tiny soothe, huge threat, you can work on your soothe system. Yeah, and it will bring down your threat. Okay, what do you think, ladies?
Yeah, I mean, I for me, my drawing used to be like a huge threat and a huge drive, because I would like work myself into the ground until I just sort of crashed, and then a tiny soothe. So I definitely noticed that the soothe is starting to impinge a little bit, even though at the beginning I find it can be a real struggle to do it when you're distressed, because sometimes if I'm distressed, the last thing I feel like doing is doing any self-soothe thing, because my thoughts are saying things like, oh, you don't deserve it, or oh, you're, all that negative stuff.
Yeah. So before we ask people, look, one of the things about the soothe system, or one thing about soothing is, lots of you will have been feeling distressed for quite a while now, right? And if you're waiting to feel like this, if you're waiting to feel like you deserve to self-soothe or something like that, I can tell you it is not going to happen. It is not suddenly going to descend on you. Oh, I'm going to do this. What you have to do is you have to act. You have to do it first. Yeah. It's like going to the theater and before you see the show, giving it a round of applause. It doesn't work like that. You have to do the action first. You have to see the play and then decide. So what I would invite people to do is act like it, start doing it, and then see what happens. So I can see we've got some stuff coming through.
Lucy wants to know what's the recommended amount of time for a soothe time on weekdays? Around 30 minutes?
Or 29. I would go for 29.
Okay, I don't know what to say to that one. I mean, when I say 29 minutes, it's got some evidence. It's got some evidence to it. So when people are highly distressed, a dedicated practice at some kind of distress tolerance skills, 29 minutes seems to work for the majority of people. But you can, she can treat herself to 30 minutes. Look, it's about, a soothe can be taking a break and having a cup of hot chocolate. So it can be short or long. It depends on how much you've got and how low you want to bring your dysregulation. Yeah. Okay. I just want to address something that Lena asked earlier. She says, I'm wondering where I can access all these recording afterwards. Also, thank you so much. I'm really enjoying these weekly sessions. Lena, everything is on the Instagram, the link in the Instagram bio. So we're going to give that link again toward the end of this session. Yeah. But it's all there on one page. There's a weekly YouTube summary that goes out, which is usually about 27, 28 minutes. And then Lakeitha says, this sounds like me. I've been trying to incorporate soothe into my schedule, but I feel like it's unproductive or a waste of time. I feel like I could study or do something more productive.
Oh, same issue as
I
me.
used to say,
Drive.
Yeah.
You could, and then you could watch yourself burn out from non-stop work.
Yeah. Lakeitha, we can relate.
I wonder what the consequences of her doing that for week after week, a month after month are.
So Lakeitha, let us know in the chat box how that's been working out for you so far.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go.
Burnt out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
So look, these ideas about doing this goes back to nearly 5,000 years, to 2,400 BC, and you can see this throughout history, people talking about balance, sort of Victorian sayings like all work and no play make Jack a dull boy and things like this. This is not new. And of course she's got her own experience of it now.
Yeah.
You're actually more productive when you soothe, because you go back, you've got more energy when you go back.
I'll remind myself of that too.
And Praveen says, if I develop a habit of soothing, how do I avoid that developed habit in my soothe box? If I develop negative habit of soothing, how to avoid that developed habit in my soothe box?
Sorry, I don't understand.
I think Praveen, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're saying that you're concerned about turning soothing into a habit that then you'll have trouble giving up. Is that right? Can you let us know if that's correct? How to avoid?
Right. I'm encouraging it. Well, you know, what I would encourage her to do is to experiment with it, right? Give herself some soothing time every day, and then see. Because you know what? She can do it and then stop. Because generally, if you stop, then see what happens. I think it's unlikely. I think it's unlikely if you're watching this that you're suddenly going to get into over soothing. But you know, she can set a limit each time if she wants. The other thing is that I just want to tell people that, you know, people often think alcohol and drugs and stuff like that are soothing, but they're not, because they're often used to affect the threat system. You know, you can have a drink, you know, so it's about the context around it. You know, if you have a drink when you're rewarding yourself for a great day's work because you've worked really hard, and you have a couple of beers with a friend or something like that, great, it can feel soothing. But if you're drinking half a bottle of vodka because you're so disgusted with yourself, then that is not really a soothe. Yeah, it's more hitting the threat system.